Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Gonna make one or two adjustments from what you see here. Most importantly, it will be making the hat just a tiny bit shorter. For this pattern, you're gonna need a hook and a holding hook if you like, a couple of C-clips, your loom in the offset configuration, and for colors, I would recommend a shade of brown for the shoes, a white or cream for the pants and parts of the shirt, something purple or lilac for the coat and the other part of the shirt, a pale skin tone for the hands and the face. Now I'm going to be using a couple of small blue beads. If you have blue bands or another kind of bead that you'd like to use, that's totally cool. The hat can be red or maroon or a brown. I can't remember if I've said a little bit of gold here. For the hair and the bow and the hat, if you have a shade of yellow that you prefer, you can go with that. And I used a kind of orange color for the hair on mine. We are going to begin by making the shoes and the feet and the legs here. So get out a couple of brown bands. We're going to need 2 to start. Put them on the end of your hook and wrap 1, 2, 3 times. Pull that onto 2 more brown bands. Slide over and replace. 2 brown bands. Slide over and replace, and 1 doubled over single band, also brown. So take it, stretch it, twist it, bring it back onto itself, put it on the end and pop it through, and that gives us a nice little bend at the ankle. From here we're going to switch to the color you have for your pants. I'm just going with white, and this is going to take 9 sets of double white bands. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you can leave this where it is or put it on a separate hook if you are more comfortable working one piece at a time. I'm going to make my second leg right next to it myself. So that's 2 brown bands wrapped 1, 2, 3 times. Hold onto 2, onto 2, onto a doubled over single, and onto those 9 sets of double white bands. So 2 at a time, and we're going to go 9 times. And 9. I'm going to leave these where they are for now. Just line them up and check that they're coming to about the same length. And we'll do the hands next. So for that you need to switch to your skin tone bands. Take 2 or 1 if you're saving bands. 1, 2, 3 times on the hook. And then onto looks like I did a doubled over single, also skin tone. And then I'm going to switch to the color that I want for the sleeves of my coat. which will be this lighter purple, and 8 sets of double bands. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It occurs to me now these arms are a little bit long. I'll show you on the finished one here. So if you feel like you want your arms to be a touch shorter, or again if you're saving on bands, you do have the option of taking one set off and leaving it at 7 pairs. I think I'm going to keep my 8. I don't mind it being a little bit long. I think that's not too bad there. And second arm, same thing. 2 bands, 1, 2, 3 wraps onto a doubled over single. These are skin tone again. And 8 sets or 8 pairs of purple bands. Four, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, let's move on to the loom. And we're going to start with the up at the neck piece here. I'm going to add the bow tie in last of all, so don't worry if you don't see the gold coming on. We're going to start on the loom, top center to the second peg down with double skin tone bands. And then I'm switching to white. We'll take 2 bands, second center to second right or far side, and repeat that in the opposite direction, and once more coming from the second center to the third center. Okay, I'm going to do one more set of double whites down in the middle, third peg to fourth peg. And now on, oh no, I didn't. Just trying to see what I've got on my picture here. Okay, take off one of those whites, please, and put a purple on in its place. And now what we're going to do on each of the rows is we're going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with 1 white and 1 purple. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have in the middle 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we only need 4 in the middle because we started with those whites in that on that second one down. Okay, so from here we'll take 1 set of double white bands and put it on your, what is this now, 7th to 8th pegs on each of your rows. If you're counting from the top to the bottom, this is to kind of connect us to where the pants are. Okay, let's take the arm pieces. You can transfer the bands off of your hook onto the second peg down on one side, and then same for the other side with your second arm. Make sure you get all of those pieces on. Take 2 white bands and slide them through the leg pieces that are on your hook. And you're going to stretch these across. Oh no, almost lost it there. Let's try that again. We're going to be stretching this across through the side pegs where we last placed our white bands. I think we said those were the 8th ones down. And then reach between where the legs are and bring it over that center peg, the last one that we've got bands on top of. Okay, we are going to put on some triangle bands. Now you could use 2 bands at a time, or you could double, loop them over if you want the body to be really tight. And the third thing is you can do all white or all purple, or you can go back and forth. So I'll do as I did originally and go back and forth. So I'm going to put 1 white across the 7th pegs from the top, make a triangle above where the legs are. I'm going to switch to purple. So you could do all in one color or the other. I'm going to alternate white and purple, and we will have a total of 5 of these. The last one sitting on the 3rd pegs from the top. Okay, we have one more thing to do before we loop up the body, and that is to add the side extension, which is going to function as the coat. So get the color you're using for your coat. We're going to take a single band, wrap it on your hook 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, and this will go onto 9 sets of double purple or double coat colored bands. So that's 1, 2, and I'm making this a little bit longer than the length of the body because I want this to hang out and have a bit of a coat tail at the bottom. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'll take now the bands that are right on the peg. I'm going to transfer them, or place them on the 2nd peg down over the arm piece. So let me turn this around. Here's my arm, here's the top. Now I'll stretch this out and take one hook, get my hook into each of those chains and place one piece from each of those chains onto each of the pegs below. So onto the 3rd peg down, onto the 4th peg down, and we'll keep stretching and connecting as we go forward, as we go down, and this keeps it nice and snug to the body. And we'll do this right until the last peg that we've used. So the last one will go on the peg that has the leg bands on it. Then you can let go, it should be secure now. And we'll need to make one of these for the other side, and then we can loop up our body. So a single wrap 3 or 4 times onto 9 sets of double bands. This is 6, 7, 8, and 9. Alright, Other side of the loom, place this over the arms, stretch and connect. Okay. Oh, let me just have another check there. And yeah, our body is all set to loop up. So I'm going to come to the bottom of the loom, and on either side, or well, starting on this side, the side closest to me, I'm going to find the bottom 2 white bands, pulling them just out to the side a little bit so I can see them better. And I'm going to take my hook, point the open part up, press back the top 3 bands, loop up those 2 bottom white, and bring them onto the peg above. For each of the following sets, we need 1 purple and 1 white, and they should be sitting right on the bottom. So if you want or need, you can pull them out to the side first to make sure that when you're grabbing, pushing back, and then grabbing those bottom ones, those are the ones that you'll feel being pulled at with your hook. We're going to loop forward until you get to the arm peg, the second peg up. And then reach through the arms, get your bottom 2 white and bring them to the second center. So we've made sure to come all the way up, bottom 2 bands each time, pressing back, holding bands, triangle bands as we go, and looped it into middle. And I'll repeat this on the other side. So the bottom 2 white, and then we push back, get the bottom 2, one is purple, one is white, and repeat that all the way to the top. Well, or the second peg from the top. Come inside for the bottom 2 whites and loop those into the second center. So when you're looking on the side, everything should be nice and snug. There shouldn't be any loose pieces sitting below. And lastly, we can go down to the peg that's between the legs here. Find the bottom 2, loop them up and over, and continue to loop up until you reach the very top of the loom. If you feel like you're getting some tension on your loom and you want to release some of the lower pieces, they should be nice and secure now, so that is safe to do. I'm getting my last 2 bands from the bottom under that second peg. They are skin tone and they're going to come up onto that top center peg. And I'm going to keep a hold on those top ones and release some of the bands lower down so that nothing comes popping apart here. And it's also a good way to check that everything is tucked in properly, looped in properly before you release it and maybe find a loose piece. Although at this point I guess you'd have to go back and fix it anyway. And when you're ready, you can put your hook through the bands on the top center peg, or you can use a C-clip or your hand, and you can release the rest from the loom. Okay. So there's the body. We're gonna do the hat and the head or face together on the loom here. So our next thing to do, and I have to remember I wanted to make my hat just a little bit shorter. I felt this was too tall. If you really like this height, you can add 1 more row to what you see me doing, but I'm gonna start with 2 red or hat color, top center to top side, and repeat on the other side. And I originally did 1, 2, 3, 4 on each row, sets of doubles. So I'll only do 3 this time. For the longer hat, you can keep it at 4, if that's your choice. And let me put these on and I will show you what it looks like. I have a couple of other very small changes to make along the way, but Probably things you won't be able to tell the difference from, but I can see in my original didn't look quite as nice as I wanted them to. Now the next set, you can use gold, orange, or yellow. I'm gonna use gold. You can use 2 bands on each of the rows, or you can use a doubled over single if you want a shorter little band. And with the double bands, or the 2 together on each, this is what it's gonna look like. And for the next one, I did doubled over single reds. And that's gonna make it a little bit tighter and smaller in that, what do you call it, like the hem or the brim? The brim of the hat is gonna be just a tiny bit shorter than some of the other pieces above. Okay. You want to grab your hook. If your body's in the way, you can get a different hook. I'm gonna keep it where it is, just to simplify life a little. And we'll take a single red, wrap it on the hook 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, and put it onto a doubled over single. This is gonna go right on the side or the edge of the hat. If you wanted it to be longer and stick out further, you could put this onto another doubled over single. I think I'm content with the width of the brim though, so I will put that onto my 6th peg down on the side. And make another one for the opposite side. Just trying to see if I've got some bands here that are already kind of stretched, twisted. And that one sort of is. Okay, wrap 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do an extra one to make it just a little bit tighter. And slide my wrapped one over. Pop that on the side here. Now this part I did want to remember, because I didn't do this originally, but I would like to have 2 red bands. Just think there, 2 red bands coming across and over those 6 pegs. And the idea behind that is just that it's going to make things a little bit tighter and more red, and ease up the transition between the hat and the face. At least in theory, I think that should work. Okay, onto skin tone. We're going to need 3 sets of double skin tone bands coming down in the middle from where we just left off there. Two sets of double skin tone bands down on either side. And I'll pull that up right away. Two skin tone bands from your, I think that's the 9th peg down on the side to the 9th peg down in the center. Basically, it's again just where we last placed our bands. We're gonna connect down diagonally, make that sort of diamondy shape. And we want, let's see here, a doubled over single skin tone band sitting in a triangle formation right above that bottom middle chin piece. You can put your body down on the loom, and I think I'm just trying to remember how I did this last time. I can't tell from my, oh wait, maybe I can. I think I'm gonna try placing it so that this purple line at the bottom is facing down and away from me. Looks like, it looks like I had it turned the opposite direction before and it showed up on the front side, which isn't where I wanted it, but if in the thumbnail you were looking and it looked funny, then maybe you'll want to flip it the other way, because it'll mean I have it on backwards. Alright, so I'm gonna transfer the neck piece down onto the loom. It's hard to see from the picture I took here, but I think that's where we want it to be. Hold on. Just trying to see which is going to be the front here. Should be the front. I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna take a chance and flip it over. It's one of those things I never can quite remember for sure which way I had it, but I think that's good. Okay, let's do our holding bands for the hat. We're just going to use red triangles across the second pegs down, third pegs down. You can use red or gold on the next two. I'm going to stick with red just to simplify again. And we're going to need one more doubled over skin tone band. This will be for the piece that holds the eyes. So I'll show you really quickly if you are using blue band. You can wrap it on your hook 1, 2, 3 times. Second one 1, 2, 3 times. Pull it onto a doubled over single skin tone and transfer onto, these are your 7th pegs down. Like so. I'm going to give you a couple options here, so just bear with me. Separate, get between, and bring it over. So that's option 1 with the bands. If you are using beads and your beads have a larger hole, you can put them onto the hook and do that very same thing. Transfer them onto your doubled over single. If you have beads with a smaller hole, as I do, whether they're white and you're going to Sharpie on your pupils, or whether they are blue beads, you can put them onto a thin wire or piece of dental floss if the hole is too small. Now I'm afraid these beads that I have, they blend in a little bit. They're just a touch smaller than I would like, but I really like the color. And I know Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, is known for his blue eyes, at least in part. Okay, I'm gonna put my floss under the doubled over band, bring it back, and return it through those 2 beads again. Now you can do this with a wire or a needle and thread, or any other fine piece. Once you've slid it on, this goes on to that same 7th peg down. We're going to bring it across. You can use your hook or your fingers to help you out here, and you can take the dental floss or wire out at any point once you've got it secure. Pardon me while I fumble with this for just a second. There. Okay, so I'm taking the floss out. I've got my beads on. You might be using bands or pony beads, it's all good. And whichever kind of eye you're doing, you want to separate and pull the band up over that middle 7th peg. Alright, last thing before we loop up the face is our hair side extensions. I'm using this orangey color. You can go with a gold or a yellow as you like, and the floppier, looser, more stretched out curly the bands are, the better. Again, we're going to keep this kind of simple though. I'm going to take a single, wrap it maybe twice onto my hook, and then pull it onto 3 sets of 2 bands. 1, 2, 3, and we will connect this just as we did the side extensions on the body. This will go where the hat ends, so where you put on that little side extension for the brim of the hat. There should be 3 more pegs on the loom below, or sorry, 2 more pegs below that have bands on them. We're going to stretch and connect one part of each of those next chain sections and relax it. And last thing, the other side, single wrapped twice. If you want to add more pieces and make it curly, there are some ways you can play around with that, but I'm going to let you experiment with that on your own for now. It's 2 and 3. And that might look even something like doing something like throwing it on the side just like that, or adding it to the side pieces. But as I say, you can play around with that if you want to add to the curl effect. I'm just gonna leave that little extra kind of bob on around the face, and I'm gonna consult my picture, but I believe that's everything we need there. Oh, and then I'm onto pictures of cats. So yeah, we're all set. We need to loop up from under the neck piece, so if you want or need, you can stretch that all the way down and onto a nearby peg, or you can just hold it out of the way. You want to reach through that space, find the top 2 bands, and bring them in a straight teardrop shape over in the direction that they came from. So in my case, I can see the last ones I placed on were coming from the side closest to me. That's where they're going to go. The next 2 go up to the far side. My last 2 are going to go straight up in the middle. Now from here, we'll loop up as you do any other looping. You can start on the side with your bottom 2, or you could start in the middle or on the other side, as long as you come from the bottom up. And make sure you get all of the bottommost bands, pushing aside the bands above as you go. So if you see, for example, that your little hat extension is coming off with your hook, you'll want to press that back on and try again, and just make sure, yeah, that everything above is staying secure in there. Okay, once you get to the top, you can go back and do the opposite side. If you started with the middle, that's okay too. You just want to make sure you get all of your rows looped up. And as before, if you feel like your loom is getting too tight and everything is in place, you can loosen some of those lower sections up. And back to the bottom, we'll continue up in the middle. Bottom 2 bands each time. And then top side to top center, come in diagonally with the bottom 2. And from the other side, last thing will be to get a red band or 2 if you want it to be extra safe. Get it ready on a couple of fingers on one of your hands, and with your other, take your hook, open part pointed away, go straight down, reach through all the bands on that top center peg, catch your band, keep a little tension on it, and you can pull it straight back up. When you get to the top, the open part of your hook should be facing up. You can put both sides on and take the one further from the end, pull it over, and that will create your slip knot. At this point, you can keep it on your hook or your finger, or put it right onto a C-clip. And the rest of your Willy Wonka is ready to come off the loom. Okay, so let's turn them around. You can tuck your securing band in the back and catch and tighten up any loose bands. So we'll turn this backwards, slide under, grab my my slip knot there and pull it under. If you happen to like this back side a little bit better, you can work with that as well. I feel like some of my skin tone there at the front are a little loose, so let me put this C-clip on at the back. Then we'll find the loose ones and tighten them up a little bit from the back side. And cinch those in. So I'm going under some nearby bands, catching the loose ones, pulling them through, and then those can sit on my C-clip as well as need be. Press your eyes through. If you were going to draw pupils on after, you can add them at any point now. And I believe we are almost done. We're just going to need the, we're just going to need the bow. So again, for the sake of ease, all we're going to do is take 2 gold bands, wrap them on the hook once and twice, 3 times if you like. Put it onto a doubled over single. And that will be one side. So second one, 2 bands, wrap once and twice onto a doubled over single. Take a single band, gold colored, slide it through both of those pieces. This doesn't want to go. Okay. Put the other end on, pull one side over the other, and we're just gonna kind of pull this, weave this through, feed it through. So, putting it on my finger for the moment. I'm gonna reach from the back to the front, just under the chin there. Grab that bow on the hook, and you can put it on a C-clip, or you can stretch it over the head. Give a little adjustment, and there you go. I think I'm gonna tighten things up just a tiny bit more in his face. Some of my bands look like they're just a little bit stretched out. And just because sometimes it's like that. Okay, so let me put them down for you and you can have a look. There is Willy Wonka from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I do have an Oompa Loompa video, and I'll try and get these onto the same playlist and have this up for you soon. I'll show you also the original with the taller hat. You can see the difference there. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos. Bye guys.